This is the stark contrast. They would not stand, the Democrats, for that beautiful young...
Before we dive into this exchange, it's important to understand what's unfolding here. The speakers are reacting to a moment during a presidential address where audience members chose whether or not to stand in response to remarks about crime, immigration, and victims of violence. At stake isn't just policy. It's the symbolism of public gestures, partisan divisions, and how political narratives are framed for millions watching at home. Let's listen closely, not just to what's said, but to what it implies about today's political climate.
Immediate reaction to what Ainsley was just referring to. You got that mother. She's bawling because her daughter was brutally murdered on video, and the Democrats don't even stand.
Yeah, Lawrence, it's...
What we're hearing here is a deliberate framing strategy, contrasting emotional victim stories with policy positions on immigration, bail reform, and public safety. Referencing individuals like Donald Trump ties these tragedies directly to broader political debates. It's important to separate verified facts, such as ongoing prosecutions or bail decisions, from generalized claims about immigration status, language ability, or voting laws. Research consistently shows that crime rates among undocumented immigrants are a complex and contested topic, often misrepresented in partisan debates. The key question becomes, are these moments about policy solutions or about shaping public perception? And how should lawmakers balance compassion for victims with careful, evidence-based policymaking?
This is the stark contrast. They would not stand, the Democrats, for that beautiful young woman, Irina Zarutska, who was killed, who was murdered on the subway. And here's the contrast. We are prosecuting the guy, the monster, and we are seeking the death penalty. That's the stark contrast between Donald Trump Republicans and the Democrats. They refuse to even stand for that victim. It was heartbreaking that Irina's mother had to experience that. That should be nonpartisan.
Yeah, I appreciated last night not only these touching stories and reasons why Donald Trump has these laws. It's not because they want to say he's racist. It's because when you're here illegally, you should not have a driver's license. You see what happens when there's a crash, when you can't read the road signs, when you don't speak English, you can't read English, and then you plow into this little girl. Her life has changed forever. Her parents have to take care of her forever. This lady leaves Ukraine and comes to America, and her child is throat slashed on a train in North Carolina because this guy is out on cash bail. Yeah. These are the kinds of things they want to say he's racist. He really just loves Americans and is trying to protect families.
Ainsley, as you know, he loves America. President Trump has made America safe again, and that's what he's doing. And in turn, that makes Americans feel safe to go to work, to have jobs, to be able to go to church, to be able to function in our country and be safe. And that's what's driving our economy. Donald Trump making America safe. And that's why our economy is at a record high. We all know that, and it's safe. And, you know, we also had last night there Andy Wolf, and I've gotten to be very close with his mom, Melody. And you know something else, Ainsley, you'll appreciate this, what President Trump said, what's very different. We are a praying administration.
I loved that.
We all are. Our cabinet prayed before we went out there last night. We prayed for the president, we prayed for Congress, we prayed for the country. And that's because of Donald Trump. And that's what's making America safe. And, you know, Andy Wolf is a miracle. And seeing him standing there with his mom, Melody, she's such a proud mom. And I think I've spoken to you about this. They prayed so much about his health. President Trump talked to them on the phone with me many times. And he's just, he so deserved the Purple Heart, and so did Sarah's parents, who lost her life that day. President Trump is always going to keep Americans safe.
So the president gave everybody a choice last night. He said the first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens. Stand up if you agree. And almost all the Democrats stayed seated. That's what you were up against on a daily basis, isn't it?
That's what we're up against every single day. Every single day, that's what we're up against. But As you saw, Donald Trump won't be deterred. We won't be deterred. We're going to protect Americans. You know, and it's very simple. You should have an ID to vote in an American election, and if you're an illegal alien, you're not going to vote in our elections. And that's what the Democrats boo. That should frighten everyone.
And
the attorney, I'm sorry,
it's an 80-20 issue.
It's an 80-20,
right.
and the representative Janelle Bynum, she was interviewed by C-SPAN. She said that part of the speech made her uncomfortable and that it was racist. Being an American, standing up for Americans, is now racist in this country.
This exchange highlights how modern political communication often blends personal tragedy, national identity, and policy debate into a single, emotionally charged narrative. Supporters frame the issue as a matter of safety and sovereignty. Critics argue that rhetoric can oversimplify complex immigration and criminal justice systems. The standing or sitting moment becomes symbolic, less about a single vote, and more about competing visions of what patriotism and responsibility look like in practice. So what do you think? Was this a clear moral contrast or a politically staged moment designed for television audiences? Share your perspective respectfully in the comments below. If you value balanced, fact-focused breakdowns that separate emotion from evidence, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next in-depth analysis.